Hello. How's everyone doing? We're going to be starting the stream very soon. I wasn't really planning on streaming today, but I just figured, you know what? I want to do some Japanese. Why not stream my Japanese coach, and we'll try to get caught up on everything. Because my goal here is basically to archive all the lessons in my Japanese coach, because as far as I'm aware, there isn't any videos or articles talking about what exactly my Japanese coach covers. Like, what are the 100 lessons, and yeah. So yeah, I didn't really expect to start streaming, but I just felt like it. I mean, if nobody comes, that's okay. I at least want to archive my Japanese coach lessons, as I've stated before. Also, YouTube is telling me that it is recommended that I turn the kilobits per second down to 1000, because right now it's like 2.7 kbps. 2,700 is what I mean. 2,700 kilobits per second, which is a lot. And maybe it's too much, who knows. I'm only streaming this, I believe, at 30 frames per second. Yeah, I see it down there. And it's 720p, so I'm not sure if that, I'm not sure if it, like, dynamically adjusts the bit rate based on, like, performance. I'll have to figure out if there's some way to limit bit rate, just so, you know, internet bills don't have to be so high. Alright, I think we're good to get started. Although, before we actually do start booting up my Japanese coach, there is something I want to show you. If it turns out that copyright doesn't really like it, then I could just edit this part out, no problem. But, let's see. Yeah, I wanted to show this video here because Gecko1993 from the previous stream mentioned this briefly. He mentioned this in chat before, and I wanted to show it to you. I gave it a listen, and yeah, it's very much an earworm. And perhaps it'll be a fun way to introduce you to some Japanese, some basic phrases, and the alphabet, the kana. So, I'll show this to you.
1, 2, 3, Japan! It's Mana! Let's learn Japanese together with me! Let's go! A, I, U, E, O, Ka, Ki, Kuke, To, Sa, Shi, Su, Se, So! Not yet! Ta, Chi, Tsu, Te, To, Na, Ni, Nu, Ne, No, Ha, Ki, Fu, Te, Fo! One more! Na, Ni, Nu, Ne, Mo, Ya, I, U, E, Yo, La, Ri, 私僕俺おいらおいど
I have never heard anyone call her the
さらに日本語日本語 Come sing together Let's さらに日本語日本語 Sing for me louder Japanese feels this song and nobody anymore We can sing it happiness with this melody ごめんねすみません I'm sorry
The last one is English.
レストランに日本語日本語 Come sing together レストランに日本語日本語 Sing it for me louder running baby how sometimes this is so no worries anymore Stand up sing this song with me あいうえお
Isn't this catchy?
Next, it will be little difficult, but please try to remember Rakun and Handakun. Ga, ki, gu, ge, go, za, ji, zi, ze, zo, da, ji, zi, de, do. One more. Ba, bi, bu, be, bo, ba, bi, bu, be, bo, 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 bo. Bo, 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 bo. レストランに日本語日本語 Come together レストランに日本語日本語 Sing for me louder レストランに日本語日本語 Come together レストランに日本語日本語 Sing for me louder Running Japanese feels this song and nobody anymore We can sing it happiness with this melody わー
Yeah, there you go. Awesome there. Alright, so with that, I think it's time we get back to business with my Japanese coach. Oh, by the way, for oidon, for anybody who is curious, that is like a way that somebody refers to oneself in a certain prefecture in Japan. I forget which one. I don't know all my prefectures of Japan, so don't quiz me on that. Alright then, let's go right to my Japanese coach. Alright, it's time for lessons 21 through 30. I think the 10 lesson format is fine enough, so I can make good progress without wearing people out too much, although I think that is asking a little too much. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be learning is informal verbs. Oh, hang on, back. I forgot we gotta read our little piece of culture trivia. The Imperial Palace, home to Emperor Akihito and family, is known for its grand gardens and tours of the grounds happen twice daily. Alright, welcome back. Now we're going to learn more things to do with verbs, namely verb tenses and verb informal forms, which we use to talk to our friends and family younger than we are. You know what? Let me type something in chat. Okay. Nihongo. I wrote that in kanji. Alright, so verb tenses and verb informal forms which we use to talk to our friends and family younger than we are. Informal verbs can be used the same way that the mas forms are used, but remember that you should use the informal forms with your friends. Informal future tense ends with an u sound, with an informal past tense ends with a ta. The word iku is conjugated here. Except you went with mas form. Why? Okay, so informal future tense of iku is iku. It's actually the same as the actual verb. Remember, present tense and future tense, as I had said before, are the same. And informal past tense ends in ta. So for iku, we say ita. We're not even going to bother clicking those buttons. Remember the general politeness rule of Japanese. The longer and more vague it is, the more polite it is. So, like, arigatou gozaimasu, that is the... I don't think it's the most polite, but it's pretty darn close. Otherwise, you could just say arigato. You don't even have to extend the arigato, because it's more casual if you just cut it short. Arigato. Informal negative ends with nai, and informal past negative with nakatta. The verb below is taberu. Well, we're talking about informal verbs, game. You're not using the formal verbs. Okay, so let's do this. Terakami ate sushi. Terakami-san wa sushi o tabemashita. That is the formal way of saying that. If we want to say it informally, we want to say Terakami-san wa sushi o taberu. And if we want to say, okay, Ueno didn't read. If we say that in formal speech, we say Ueno-san wa yomimasen deshita. If we want to say that in the informal past negative, we say Ueno-san wa yomanakatta. So, yeah, you're not doing a very good job there, game. Don't forget to make your own sentences in order to remember how it all works. Also, be sure to check the V button next to the verb in the dictionary to see how it conjugates. There's some rules, but it's best to memorize the correct forms as you practice them for now. Don't worry, I'll talk about conjugation in more detail later. For now, try using these words in sentences. So we have to walk,
歩く
aruku, to learn,
学ぶ
manabu, to understand,
わかる
wakaru. Yeah, we finally now learn to understand what that wakaru, what it translates to. It translates to understand. It, depending on the context, it can also mean to know. Anyway, to drink,
飲む
nomu. To hang in there,
頑張る
ganbaru. Yeah, to hang in there, to do your best. Here's some nouns that are very useful to know. Food, we say
食べ物
tabemono. So as you can see, we know taberu as the word for to eat. Tabemono is the thing we eat. Mono is it's basically a part of a word, or it could be a word itself to mean thing. So this could literally mean thing to eat. For water, we have
水
mizu. For river, we have
川
kawa. For mountain, we have
山
yama. And for sushi,
寿司
sushi. Let's make sure that you know these words before we continue on. Word search, easy enough. Aruku,
歩く
kawa,
川
nomu,
飲む
tabemono,
食べ物
wakaru,
わかる
yama,
山
manabu,
学ぶ
sushi,
寿司
ganbaru,
頑張る
mizu, mizu, mizu.
水
I almost had to eat my words from last time. Let me review the conjugations available to you now. For formal verbs, we have future/present, verb mas, negative, verb masen, past, verb mashita, past negative, verb masen deshita. And for informal verbs, we have future present, verb I, which is basically just the verb without conjugating it in any way. Negative, verb nai, past, verb ta, past negative, verb nakata. There's a little more nuance to this, but we'll go over that later. Let me explain a little bit about the Japanese verbs. When you know how verbs work, you can conjugate them on your own. Actually, I think we're learning this now. All the verbs ending with u or ru are in the informal future/present form. This form is called a dictionary form because the dictionary uses this form for its verb entry. You might also hear this as plain form. The negative forms end either with enai, inai, or anai. Tabenai, minai, akanai, or ikanai, hanasanai, shinai. Those verbs that end with enai and inai are called ichidan verbs, and those with anai are called godan verbs. ichidan verbs do not change their stems to add suffixes such as mas or nai. Tabemas, demas, mimas, tabenai, denai, minai. As you can see, that their root words don't change. They come from taberu, deru, and miru, respectively. Godan verbs conjugate with different forms when those suffixes are attached. I've shown you 3 so far. Ikanai, ikimasu, iku, hanasanai, hanashimasu, hanasu. Can you see the pattern in the Godan verbs? The stem plus a, I, and u. Godan verbs also have e and o forms. We're not using them now, so just remember the 3 forms that we covered. I hope this all makes sense. Yeah, it is a bit much, but you're probably wondering, how do you know exactly which words are ichidan and which ones are godan? Well, we're gonna learn about this a little later. For right now, if you know how to manipulate verbs, then there are a lot more things that you could talk about. So be sure to practice making sentences, aka write them down and speak them. I might sound like a broken record by now, but that's only because practicing is that important. And with that, we get a new mini-game here, Bridge Builder. This allows us to construct sentences. Our goal is to read the English sentence and then drag the Japanese words and arrange them in the right order so that it, makes the sentence. Now, in theory, this is a good mini-game, but there is one problem with it. Can you guess what it is? As somebody who's been learning Japanese for a while now? That's right. It doesn't support kana. Alright, so yeah, we have to do this in Romaji. They said switching kana as soon as possible is important, but they're not doing it with their mini games. Anyway, for example, we say he will drink water. We say kare wa mizu o nomimasu.
彼は水を飲みます。
And then we get another bridge. Do you understand Japanese? We say Nihongo ga wakarimasu ka?
日本語がわかりますか？
We say ga because Nihongo, Japanese, might be a new subject for them. Watashi wa ganbarimasu. I will hang in there.
私は頑張ります。
I eat sushi. Watashi wa sushi o tabemasu.
私は寿司を食べます。
What did you learn? Nani o manabimashita ka? Once again,
学びましたか？
this lesson is supposed to be about informal verbs, but I am not seeing a single informal verb in this mini game.
彼女は食べ物を食べます。
Basically, all that you're seeing right now is how certain verbs are being conjugated. That's basically all you're learning from doing this mini game here.
彼は山に行きます。
Cats hate water. Neko wa mizu ga. We're emphasizing I think we're emphasizing mizu here. That's why we use ga here. Kirai desu.
猫は水が嫌いです。
We haven't learned kirai yet, but as you can tell, it means to dislike something or hate something. Watashi wa kawa o mimasu.
私は川を見ます。
I don't see sentences that often where, you know, I see watashi wa kare wa kanojo wa, because oftentimes when I'm studying, the sentences are in context, so the topic is dropped.
彼は山に歩きました。
I don't think the game goes over this, but I've went over it before, but it bears repeating. Sometimes when you talk in Japanese, you don't have to constantly say the topic over and over and over again, because we get it. We're still in the conversation. We're familiar with this topic. You don't need to say watashi wa every 5 seconds. I hope that makes sense. Next time we'll finish up the kana. You're doing great. Except we're not. We're almost there. Man, lesson 21 is just a big fat lie in many regards. Terrible lesson. Alright, next up we got kana number 7. How's your kana practice coming? Remember, if you don't practice it, then you won't learn. This time I'm covering the T, N, and Y katakana characters. We're getting close to finishing. Remember that the T characters can have a dakuten, making their new sound a D. Also, a chi turns into a G, and a tsu turns into a zu when a dakuten is used. Here are the T characters in katakana. Remember to keep the correct stroke order. So we have ta,
た、
chi,
ち、
tsu,
つ、
te,
て、
to.
と。
So let's practice writing these. First off, we have ta, you actually don't want to like poke that part out through there too much, because otherwise it would look like this kanji. That is a kanji that people don't learn until high school, by the way, but it means again. Why do I know it? Well, I've just seen it a couple times and it just stuck. It's a simple kanji to write and memorize, but you don't learn it until high school for some reason. Anyway, next up is hang on. Oh, that's kind of incorrect. We don't do the kimochi up this way. We actually do it like this. It actually does a much better flow this way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty nice to write once you get the hang of it. Next is tsu. Now I've mentioned before that you shouldn't confuse shi with tsu, and yeah, let me clear this and I'll show you. Remember how you write shi? It's like this. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Tsu is written differently. It's written like this. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1. Oh, that's too long. 1, 2, 3. So, I've mentioned before, an easy way to memorize this is that this is the hiragana shi. You just follow that flow to write the katakana shi. It's the same thing for tsu. Here's the katakana tsu, or hiragana tsu, and then you do that same flow. See that? That should make it a little easier to remember how to distinguish between writing shi and tsu. As for reading, well, if these slope down, it's a tsu. If it angles to the right this way, it's shi. Konnichiwa, Gecko-san. Alright, next up is te. It almost looks like you're writing a T one way or another. 1, 2, 3. And then to. Fairly easy. If you want a mnemonic, think of it like to, like you're striking a pose downward, I guess. Best way to learn she is like she has long hair. I learned that from Luke Morse 1's Japan 101 video. Let's see. She has long hair. Maybe I could see that. Alright, with that, let's move on. Now for the N characters. Na, ni, nu, ne, no. Oh, by the way, at the beginning of the stream, Gecko 1993, I did share the 1, 2, 3 Japan song that you mentioned in the previous stream. It's very catchy, and I think I'm going to be having that in my head for a while. But that's okay. Anyway, let's practice writing the N kana. Na looks like a dagger of sorts. Next is ni. You'll be familiar with this one because this is actually like the very same as the kanji for 2. It's written the exact same way. And not to mention, the way to say 2 is ni. So, how could you forget? Next is nu. Glad I could help with that song. Thanks, Super Allison 20, for introducing that earworm to me. Alright, well, I'll thank her, and if I forget, you can give her my thanks. Next is... hang on. No, that's not right! You write this first. You write the drop first. We call this a drop sometimes. and then we do this. So, yeah. Once again, incorrect stroke order strikes again. I mean, it looks like you could make it flow better like this, but that's not how you write it. Next is... Wait. Does it actually write that way? I don't remember, to be honest. I want to say that's wrong, but I better check. Looking at the Japan guy once again. Oh wait, I'm looking for katakana, not hiragana. Nah. And I'll look at Tofugu. Tofugu is an excellent Japanese resource, by the way. You should check it out. Yeah, sure enough, they wrote this the wrong way. You write it going down, not going up. If you go up, it would actually be the, Oh, actually, that's not anything. You add this and then do that. That becomes the N character. Also, if anyone has played the masterpiece Kung Fu on the Nintendo, the background counts in Japanese from 1 to 10 to indicate what screen you are on the... Alright. Jew is always that floor's boss. Okay. The same can also be applied for Chinese, but it is spoken differently. Yeah. And you're welcome. So yeah, you swipe down, not up. Lastly, the Y characters. Remember that these can be used to make new sounds like kya. You just make sure that you have an E character like ki or ni, and shorten the and you make the Y character smaller, so you say stuff like kya and nya. Nya.
Yeah.
Sorry. Alright. Yeah is written this way. I'm double checking though. Yeah, it's correct. I'm gonna have to second guess myself all the time now. Next is you. I don't know what this would really resemble, but... Oh, I guess it could resemble a chair tilted on its back? That's what I saw when I wrote it, but I don't know. And then yo. This is an E written backwards. And there we go. Looking at them is only going to do so much for you, so practice writing them. I won't do it with fading characters, though. I'll do it with the other Actually, you know what? I should do fading characters, because I want to know for sure if the stroke orders that I do will be alright with the game. So far, the only one I actually had a problem with is the hiragana yo. That's the only one that just flat out won't accept the correct stroke order. So, we'll see.
Chi. Chi. Chi.
Next is tsu.
Tsu.
Oops.
Tsu. Tsu.
Te.
Te.
Easy enough.
Te. Te.
Yo.
Yo. Yo. Yo.
Na.
Na. Na. Na.
N.
Nu. Nu. Nu.
Ne. Curious about this one.
Ne.
Okay.
Ne.
Good. This one also
Ne.
accepts the correct stroke order.
Ni. Ni. Ni.
Oh no!
No.
Ah, no, it wants me to write this one wrong. Ah!
No.
I could choke.
You. You.
2 looks like a smiley face. Best to remember it from that shrug text meme.
You.
I suppose, if you could associate with that.
Ta. Ta. Ta.
Yeah.
Ya. Ya. Ya.
To.
To. To. To.
There we go. Learning new katakana should be a cinch for you by now. All it takes is practice. So let's get some more practice for you. I've written enough. Only one more lesson of kana to go. But before that, more on verbs. Alright, let's go on to that right away. Verb bases. So this one can be a doozy. This one you're definitely going to have to take notes if you're not doing so already. The verb conjugation covered in lessons 19 and 21 are very similar to what you'll see in many Japanese textbooks. There's a system with this language that can be used to easily explain and organize grammar. This system uses bases. You can't spell gecko in Japanese without the ya before the mo and ri. Okay. Yeah. This system uses bases, and I'll be using those to teach you new grammar. It follows some simple rules, so let's get on with it. Let me explain bases by using what we covered before. There are only 7 bases, and all verb types use them. In lesson 21, I introduced 4 bases, so I'll go into more detail now. Speaking of verb types, remember that there are 3 of them: ichidan, godan, and irregular. Ichidan is sometimes called ru verbs, and godan is sometimes called u verbs, which aren't very good. Yeah, don't refer to them as ru verbs and u verbs. I'm glad this game doesn't really make that mistake. Because there are some verbs that end in ru that are actually godan verbs. You want to be careful with that. Taberu is one of them. All ichidan verbs end with eru or iru in Romaji. There are a few verbs that end with iru and eru that aren't ichidan verbs, though. Be sure to check how they are conjugated in the dictionary, or ask a native speaker if you're not sure which kind they are. If you're lucky to know one. I mean, it's easier to talk to a native speaker nowadays now that we have, like, Discord servers and stuff. Godan verbs are pretty much all the verbs that are not ichidan or irregular. And thankfully, there are very few irregular verbs. I'll be sure to warn you when I show you one. That sounds like Ubisoft pulled a 4 kids on those verbs. I don't know what you mean by that exactly. Godan verbs are the most common. Be sure you know how to use them. There are 7 bases to conjugate into each type. Below is the word taberu, to eat, in all 7 bases. So we have base 1, tabe, base 2, tabe, base 3, taberu, base 4, tabere, base 5, tabeyo, base te, tabete, and base ta, tabeta. You don't have to write down anything right now, because we'll be reviewing that once again a little bit later. In this lesson, I'm just going to cover the bases that are used for the verb forms that I talked about in previous lessons. Those connect with bases 1, 2, 3, and ta. We'll hit the rest later. And don't worry too much about the deeper meaning behind the bases. They all have more than one use. Ichidan verbs are easier to conjugate, so I'll start with those. The first 2 bases are the same. Just drop the ru. Base 3 is simple. Just leave it like you find it in a dictionary. This is why it's called also the dictionary form. So yeah, base 1 and 2, just drop the ru. Base 3, leave it as it is. And then base ta, well, that should be fairly obvious. You drop the ru and replace it with ta. I think that's how it works with godan verbs. No, this is ichidan verbs. My bad. Yeah. Lastly, for base ta, you simply replace the ru with a ta. Now for godan verbs. To conjugate them correctly, we need to remember the order of vowels in Japanese. A, I, U, E, O. Bases 1 through 5 follow this order. So for base 1, change the U to an A. Base 2 takes the U to an I. And base 3 stays as an U at the end. Yoma, yomi, yomu, yome, yomo. And then base te and ta are yonde and yonda, respectively. We'll get into more of the nuances a little bit later. But when the last character is a hiragana u, as in au, to meet, then base 1 changes the u into a wa instead, because it'll be awkward to say ah. I have a phone call right now. I'll be right back. It might be spam, though. We'll see. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so yeah, as you can see, for Godon verbs, we conjugate the bases with the order a, I, U, E, O in mind, but if the last character is a hiragana U, then base 1 turns into a wa instead of a, because it would be awkward to just say ah for something. Since I covered all the bases needed for formal verbs, yeah. Here's a chart of them with the base method. It's easy because for formal verbs, it's all base 2, and then mas, masen, mashsa, or masen deshita. The tricky thing about Godon verbs is conjugating bases te and ta. This is a little more confusing because it depends on what the last character of the verb is. If the last character is an u, su, or ru, then the last character needs to be replaced with a ta. That is a small tu and ta for base ta. So we have au becoming ata. If the last character is a bu, mu, or a nu, then the last character needs to be replaced with nda for base ta. So, for example, yomu becomes yonda. If the last character is a ku, then the last character needs to be replaced with ita for base ta. So, kaku to write becomes kaita. If the last character is a gu, then the last character needs to be replaced with ida for base ta. So isogu to hurry becomes isoida. If the last character is a su, then the last character needs to be replaced with shita for base ta. So hanasu to relinquish. What? Hang on. Let me look that up. Hanasu. To speak, to converse, to explain, to tell, to narrate, to mention, to describe. There's also to separate, to part, to divide, or to release, to let go. Relinquish. Nageu, to throw away, to abandon, to give up, to relinquish. Tebanas, to let go of, to part with, to relinquish. And to relinquish means to cease to keep or claim something. Okay, so there's tebanasu, which means to relinquish, but hanasu means to speak. I don't know why they made this typo. And not to mention, that isn't like one of the N5 through N1. I don't get it. This game makes some really strange mistakes, I tell you. Using these bases is very easy to set up the informal verbs. So, for Goldan verbs, future and present is base 3, negative base 1, nai. Oh wait, this is for all verbs. This is just for informal verbs. Negative is base 1, nai. Past base ta. And past negative is base 1 and nakata. Let's get you some verbs to practice these on. So first off, we have
作る
tsukuru, to make. So if we want to say that in, let's say, hang on, did I don't remember if I actually had written this down in my notes as I, like, studied previously. Oh well. So, tsukuru, to make. Let me see if I can do this on the spot. If I wanted to make this present negative, we would say tsukuranai. If we want to make this into polite form, we would say tsukurimasu. If we want to say this in past negative, we would say tsukuranakata. Is that right? tsukuranakatta. Yeah. To enter, we say
入る
hairu. To exit,
出る
deru. So, hairu, hairimasu, hairanai. For deru, this I think is a godan verb. So, or no, ichidan verb. Demasu, denai, denakatta. Yeah, as you can see from that, the de stem stays the same. You just drop ru and replace it with something else. To receive,
受ける
ukeru, ukerimasu, ukeranai, ukeranakatta. To give,
与える
ataeru. Now, there are multiple ways of saying to give something. Ataeru means specifically like to bestow something upon someone. Especially like to give somebody of a lower class. So, I think typically when you hear like to give, you would hear, what is it? Ageru? It would be ageru. For receiving something, you might also hear the word morau. So that's something else. Yeah, there are multiple ways to say to give, to receive, depending on the context. That is basically a running theme when it comes to learning Japanese. You'll encounter all these little nuances, and you'll have to use different words for different situations. Alright, can you tell which are ichidan verbs and which are godan verbs? Well, according to my notes, every single one of these verbs, except for deru, is godan. So, we have
休む
yasumu, to rest, yasumimasu, yasumanai, yasumanakatta, sleep,
眠る
nemuru, nemurimasu. Although I've also heard neru as well. Oh, yeah, if I talk about that, then we're going to be talking about transitive and intransitive verbs. I don't remember if my Japanese coach actually deals with that, but if it doesn't, that's a critical mistake, because, like, if you want to make sentences properly, you have to know about transitive and intransitive verbs. One thing that can make learning Japanese easier, passion. I suppose, yes. Passion, will to learn. So yeah, let's just think about nemuru for now. So nemuru, nemurimasu, nemuranai, nemuranakatta. To die,
死ぬ
we have shinu. We have shinimasu, shinimanai, shinimanakatta. You'll probably hear this word in anime in its like command form, which is shinde. We have to kill,
殺す
korosu, which would be koroshimasu, korosanai, korosanakatta. And to build, which is
作る
tsukuru. Yeah, for some reason in this lesson, they decided to make tsukuru, which means both to make and to build, separate. I don't know why they do this, but What's even more confusing is that when you play the mini games in this lesson, it gives you a whole new word instead of just having 2 tsukurus, or, just having only 9 words. They give you erabu, which means to choose. Erabu is also a godan verb. So, erabimasu, erabanai, erabanakata, erande as the command form. Yeah, when I say command form, it's base te. We won't go over this until later in the game. Anyway, flashcards.
作る
Tsukuru, to make.
休む
Yasumu, to rest.
出る
Deru, to exit.
死ぬ
Shinu, to die.
与える
Ataeru, to give.
選ぶ
Erabu, just like I said, this means to choose.
眠る
Nemuru, to sleep.
入る
Hairu, to enter.
殺す
Kurosu, to kill.
受ける
Ukeru, to receive. I think they want to be more specific with those 2 words for the sake of avoiding confusion. I suppose, but one could infer that to make and to build could use the same word. I mean, all it needs is context. Or, you could just have make/build as, the English translation. But this game doesn't really do that. If you look in the dictionary and that this game is included with, it kind of gives you duplicates. So yeah, that slightly annoys me. I'll go over the rest of the bases in a later lesson, but for now just concentrate on getting a good hold of conjugating verbs. It will make it fairly easy to pick up the rest of the bases. Try getting the correct conjugation in this game, except the... Oh wait, no, well, yeah, the conjugation is kind of done for you already, because there are, no excess pieces in Bridge Builder. You just place all the ones you have correctly. I made this. Oh, no, watashi wa. Alright. Kore o tsukurimashita. I made this, I built this.
これを作りました
I received a cat. Watashi wa, because we're familiar with me. Neko o ukemashita. Mashita.
私は猫を受けました
She exited the car. Kanojo wa, we're familiar with her. Kuruma o deta.
彼女は車を出た
I gave a book. Watashi wa hon o ataemashita. I bestow a book upon you.
本を与えました
Sato chose a cat. Sato-san wa? Assuming we're familiar with Sato-san. Neko erabimashita. Let me place that there.
佐藤さんは猫を選びました
I entered the bathroom. Otearai ni hairimashita. Or toire ni hairimashita.
お手洗いに入りました
I will not rest. Watashi wa yasumanai.
私は休まない
I won't kill. Good. 私は殺しません。
私は殺しません。
彼女は眠る。
彼女は眠る。
Hang on, I'll get back to you, Gecko. I didn't die. 私は死にませんでした。
私は死にませんでした。
No, it's not that the physical copy has a dictionary included. The dictionary is in the software itself. I'll show it to you right now, pretty much. Be sure to keep practicing. It's the only way that you'll learn Japanese. Alright, so if we go back to the main screen here, we go to Reference, we go to Dictionary, we can see a list of words here. So, like, you have all these words that you can learn in the game. Throughout the 100 lessons, they only give you like 10% of these words, not assuming duplicates. But the rest of these, if you want to learn these, how the game like has you learn them, you do it through an open plan, which just gives you any random unlearned vocabulary words, and I do not recommend learning words this way. That said, it's very nice that they actually give you a list of all these words, and it even gives you phrases with this phrase book. So you can have a list here. Oh, why are some of these checked?
郵便局は開いていますか？郵便局は開いていますか？
Oh, you can just click the check mark to basically bookmark them so you can study them later. They're considered favorites.
日本語を話せる。どこにあるか知りません。いいえ、知りません。荷物を手伝ってもらえますか？寂しすぎた。荷物を手伝って。中身は何でしたか？
Wait, Mario Paint had an introduction to Japanese? I was not aware of this. Then again, I don't really know that much about Mario Paint. I tried it a little bit, but I fare much better with Microsoft Paint. Alright, so next we're going to finish the kana, finally. Here we go, the very last lesson on kana. Omedetou! Congratulations! This time I'm going to cover the katakana H, R, and W characters. Do you remember what's special about the H characters? I'll give you 10 seconds. The H characters can use the Dakuten and the Handakuten. The Dakuten makes them sound like B, and the Handakuten makes them sound like P. Here are the H characters in katakana. Ha, hi, hu, he, ho. Remember, hu is basically a breath out when you want to pronounce it. So let's start with ha, So, fairly simple. We have he. And you know what? I do want to review this one. Let me take a look at Tofugu here. Oh, yep, that is indeed wrong. You write this first and then down. I'm assuming it's because we finish down right, that's why this stroke order matters. Ah, the game's original box is the same size as Earthbound's. It must be because it had to have that mouse included. So, yeah. You write this part first, and this second. Next, fu. Fairly simple. Fu. He. Now, this basically looks the exact same as the katakana he. However, if you were writing this, if you want to distinguish it better, katakana he would be more angular, while the hiragana he will be a little rounder, like this. It might be a little difficult to tell still, but that's the rule of thumb. Next is ho. Ho. Oh, that little swish there, yeah, you might not see that in some fonts, but it's basically your indicator to say, this is where I start next. So, ha, he, hu, he, ho. Ha, he, hu, he, ho. Alright, now for the R characters. La, li, lu, le, lo.
La.
Let's practice writing these. La. It's basically hu with a line at the top. Next is li. I have touched upon this before. Li is written like this, while the hiragana li may be written like this. Could also be written like this, but katakana ri is always written like this. Next is ru. Then we have le, not to be confused with the hiragana shi. Remember, it's a little more angular. And then we have ro, which is a square. But you don't write it like probably what you would do when writing a square, which would probably be this. Nah, we do it like this. It's 3 strokes. And finally, we have, oh, don't forget to practice the pronunciation. The R characters sound very different from English. And the last of the bunch, wa, wo, and n. So, wa. Ro is also found in the Japanese word for Metroid. Yep, Metroid. Wait, wa is one stroke? What? Why? It's two strokes! That's gonna throw me off so much! And you don't do it like the... Oh! Game! Game! This is probably the worst mistake. A two-stroke becoming a one-stroke. Are you kidding me? I'm not gonna get over that. I'm not gonna get over that hurdle. O is written like that. And then, at least that one's written correctly. I'm going to mess up so much on that wa throughout this entire, playthrough. That wa is quite warui bad. Yeah, it's warui. That means bad. Now we've covered all the katakana and hiragana. Feels nice, doesn't it? It's like a breath of fresh air. But you still need to master these before you're finished. I've already done that, and I don't want to do it. Just a reminder, you should stop using Romaji now. Also, there won't be much Romaji in the game after you get to Lesson 30. You say that, but a bunch of the mini-games that you bring to us don't support kana, like that bridge builder. So you better get familiar with writing in Japanese. Alright. Now let's cover something a little easier for the next few lessons, like time and seasons. Okay, so next up we're going to work on telling time. Imagine for a moment that you agree, speaking in Japanese, to meet a friend at the train station. You then head to the train station and wait. Shortly after you get there, you realize that you didn't understand what time she told you to meet. You could be there for hours. Don't worry, Haruka is on the case to teach you how to tell time. Part of telling time is easy, but another part is more difficult. Let's start with the hours. Since hours are numbered things, they have a counter. The counter for hours is ji. There are two numbers that are irregular with the hour counter. 4 o'clock is yoji instead of yonji. 9 o'clock is kuji instead of kyuji. Yeah, the song from the beginning of the stream should help with memorizing. Not only is it catchy, it's even helpful. The particle that is used for marking time is ni. For time, it translates to at in English. Here's some basic sentences with time in them. So, for example, I will go at 3 o'clock. 3時に行きます。
3時に行きます。
佐藤 ate at 4 o'clock. 佐藤さんは4時に食べました。
佐藤さんは4時に食べました。
Can you think of your own examples? Try to make your own sentences. Using 半 directly after the hour counter puts another half hour on. So 2時半 means 2:30. Alternatively, you could say 30分, but we'll get to that shortly. So hour counter is 時. If we want to say what time?
何時
何時. 何時ですか? For the time, we say
時間
jikan. As stated before,
半
han is half, and we put that after niji, for example. We say 2:30, half past 2, or
4時
yojihan, which is half past 4. Makes sense. Here's some other words that are useful for telling time. AM, we say gozen. PM, we say
午後
gogo. For noon, we say
昼
hiru. For midnight, we say
午前0時
gozen reiji. So, gozen reiji actually directly translates to 0 hours in the morning. Re here means 0. Ji is the counter for hours, and gozen is AM. So that's why it's midnight. And finally, we have yesterday,
昨日
kino. Don't forget to work on your mastery. Sure, we'll hit some words. Noon, hiru. Hour counter, ji. Midnight, gozen reiji. Oh, it's so long. Time, jikan. Jikan. I'll get back to you there. 4 o'clock, yoji. Yesterday, kino. Half, han. AM, gozen. What time? Nanji. Almost perfection. PM, gogo. There we go. One Piece's Whole Cake Island arc also helped with time. Sanji, since he is the Straw Hat's chef, he's the association for lunchtime. His brothers and sisters in Gurma 6 is also most beneficial in time. Interesting. Do people eat lunch at 3 o'clock? Seems a little late. I mean, my university doesn't do lunch anymore at 3. Now on to the difficult part, using minutes in Japanese. Minutes are more difficult than hours because they have more irregular readings with the counter. All the irregular counters are written below. So the minute counter is fun. However, 1, 3, 6, and 10 minutes are irregular. So for 1 minute we have
1分
ippun. For 3 minutes we have
3分
sanpun. For 6 minutes we have
6分
loppun. And for 10 minutes we have
10分
jippun. The rest, 2分, 4分, 5分, 7分, 8分. Wait, 8分? I think that's correct. And 9分. I would think 8分is... Okay, you know what? I gotta look this up. Dagnabbit. Let's see. Okay, so it actually can be either 8分 or 8分. And 4 minutes can either be 4分 or 4分. So, there you go. When telling time, the hour goes first and the minutes follow right after. So 5:35 would be Goji Sanjugo fun. Nanji desu ka? What time is it? Please tell me. 6時10分です。6時11分です。That is EST, by the way. If you live in a different part of the world, well, reduce the number of hours by something or other. It's game time! Oh, I guess it could also be that time. Flashcards.
3分
3 minutes.
午後
PM.
6分
6 minutes.
午前0時
Midnight.
分
Minute.
10分
10 minutes.
午前
AM.
昼
Noon.
昨日
Yesterday.
1分
1 minute. So with this lesson, you have more than 10 words to study, so you would be studying for a little more than usual. But once again, I'm doing this on a completed profile, so I don't have to worry about that. Be sure to get practice in. Say in Japanese what time it is and when you will do things. Let's see, 明日はストリームします。ストリームはモンスターサンクチュアリします。Can you understand what I'm saying? わかるかな? Okay, we're at the 5 lesson mark, so we're going to take a short break. So, we'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have some dinner with me. Having some pasta and meat. It's got some broccoli too.午後6時に夕ご飯を食べました。I just realized I think I made that Japanese sentence in the past tense when it should have been present tense. Gochusou-sama. Alright, let's get back to my Japanese coach. So, we're going to be learning more about verb bases, it seems. Alright. Time to learn more about verb bases. Welcome back. Have you been practicing your bases? Now it's time to go back and teach you all the bases that I didn't teach you before. They are all used in this game. Remember that there are 3 different types of verbs: godan, ichidan, and irregulars. Let's go over the ichidan verbs first, since they're a bit easier to deal with. Remember that for base 1 and 2, the ru is dropped, and nothing changes for base 3. For base 4, replace the ru with a le, and for base 5, replace the ru with a yo. For base te, replace the ru with a te. This is very similar to base ta. So, for example, nigeru, to flee, we would conjugate base 4, nigere, base 5, nigeyo, base te, nigete. For eru, to obtain, we have ele, eyo, and ete, respectively. Now for the godan verbs. Remember that they follow the order of the Japanese vowels. Base 1 a, base 2 e, base 3 u, base 4 e, base 5 o. For godan base 4, replace the u at the end with an e. So osu, to push, becomes ose. For base 5, replace the u at the end with an o. So for kagayaku, to sparkle, it's kagayako. I wonder what could willingly sparkle. Because the base 5 would be the volitional form. Remember that both ichidan and godan have a longer base 5 than the other 4 bases. Ready for base te? Remember how godan's base ta was different depending on how the verb ended? Base te is pretty much the same as this, but ending with an e sound instead of an a. So if the last character is an u, tsu, or a lu, then the last character needs to be replaced with a te, that is small tsu, and te for base te. So okonau, to... Okay, this I think is a typo as well. Okonau means like to perform a task, to do something. So okonau becomes okonate. If the last character is a b, mu, or a nu, then the last character needs to be replaced with nde for base te. So yomu becomes yonde. Nomu will become nonde as well. If the last character is a ku, then the last character needs to be replaced with ite for base te. So kagayaku becomes kagayaite. If the last character is a gu, then the last character needs to be replaced with ide for base te. So isogu becomes isoide. If the last character is a su, then the last character needs to be replaced with a shite for base te. So osu becomes oshite. To recap, here are the changes for godan, base te, base ta. You can pause for a moment and check that for yourself. And let's not forget about the irregulars. Since they don't follow nice rules, you'll just have to memorize them if you want to use them. Fortunately, there are very few irregular verbs in Japanese. Unfortunately, they are really common verbs. Suru, to do, is a very common verb that is irregular. Here it is in all its bases. So base 1 of suru is shi, base 2 is shi, base 3 is suru, base 4 is sure, base 5 is shio, base te is shite, and base ta is shita. Kuru, to come, is also very common. Base 1 is ko. Yeah, very strange there. Base 2 is ki. Base 3 is kuru. Base 4 is kure. Base 5 is koyo. Base te is kite. And base ta is kita. Iku, to go, is kind of irregular. It just doesn't follow the rules for base te and ta. So, ika, iki, iku, ike, iko, those are fine enough. But for base te and ta, it's ite and ita, respectively. Now we've covered all the different bases for the different verb types. Be sure to know them because they are all going to be used. Practice putting all of these verbs in their different bases. So, to perform a task, it is
行う
okonau. To obtain,
得る
eru. To neglect,
無視する
mushisuru. So this is the first instance of a suru verb. There are several verbs that, I guess there are several nouns of sorts where if you attach suru to them, they'd become verbs. Suru is a very versatile word in that regard. So, mushi is basically neglection or ignoring. Mushisuru is the act of neglecting or ignoring. Escape is
逃げる
nigeru. You'll see that a bunch in RPGs, certainly, because, run away. To freeze,
凍る
koru. Probably easy to remember considering cold. Koru. If you're having trouble conjugating them, you can cheat and look in the dictionary. How though? Not right away. You'll have to press forward a few times. So, for glow, we have
輝く
kagayaku. So yeah, that's to glow, to sparkle. To mean something,
意味する
imisuru. When you want to learn the meaning of something, you'll encounter imi for meaning. You're very likely going to see it in kanji, so surely you'll be familiar with it. You'll know that it is imi if you look in a dictionary, let's say. For to destroy,
破壊する
hakai suru. So, hakai is destruction. Spark also means pika. Ah, yes, pika pika. That is to sparkle. Basically, it's a way to convey something is sparkling like new, for example. And yeah, it's also used for the Pokemon Pikachu.
押す
Osu, to press, and nod,
うなずく
unazuku. Not only from a certain mouse from the late 1990s, but the character Kizaru's Pika Pika no Mi. Huh, I've never heard of that. Let me look that up. Light Fruit is a rare Logia-type devil fruit from the One Piece series. Ah, okay. Okay, let's get those words learned. Word search. Hakai suru,
破壊する
koru,
凍る
kagayaku,
輝く
eru.
得る
But, sorry. Mushi suru,
無視する
unazuku,
うなずく
imi suru,
意味する
osu,
押す
okonau,
行う
nigeru.
逃げる
Time to get some more mastery points. Alright, now we can learn these in kana. Destroy. Hakai suru.
破壊する
Freeze. Cold.
凍る
Neglect. Mushi suru.
無視する
To perform. Okonau.
行
Perfection.
う
To glow. Kagayaku.
輝く
To press. Osu.
押す
Escape. Nigeru.
逃げる
Obtain. Eru. Affection. To nod. Unazuku. Unazuku.
うなずく
To mean. Imisuru.
意味する
Yeah, with kana, hitting the right words can be a little tricky. You have to really know the kana like the back of your hand. But that's why I enjoy this mini game. Those hit a word mini games are like Whack-A-Monty from Super Mario 64 DS / New Super Mario Bros. DS, only better. I haven't played a Super Mario 64 DS in quite a long time. So I don't quite remember what the Whack-A-Monty is like. I know I played that Slingshot Bob-omb minigame as well as that, that Wanted poster minigame as well. Now you know all the basic rules behind verb conjugation. We'll be using them in the future, so be sure to learn, review, and practice. Alright, I'll be right back. I gotta put my plate in the dishwasher. In Whack-A-Monty, you're supposed to whack Monty moles as they come out of a hole, but if you whack Luigi, you lose points. Ow. Okay. And, I had this nagging feeling in my head that Mushi also had another meaning, but then I realized that, Mushi also means like a bug or an insect. So that's another meaning for that word. Ooh, particles. These are important. Oh yeah, and our landmark of this section is Tokyo Tower. It is a tower in Shiba Park, Minato, Tokyo, Japan. It is 332.6 meters tall, 1,091 feet tall, making it the tallest man-made structure in Japan. What separates Hit a Word from Whack-A-Monty is simply this. You are learning/retaining new information that you learn, and it is competently made. Of course, I wouldn't expect any less from Ubisoft. Pre-Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft. Right. Although I'm not sure how much of Ubisoft, developed this game. I've talked before about what particles are, and we've even used them in the past. Now it's time to teach you all that you'll need to know about them. Remember, a particle is a small word that is used after a noun to tell you how it's used. I'm going to be teaching you 10 particles in this lesson. The first particle is wa, written as ha, but actually pronounced as wa. As mentioned earlier, this marks the topic of a sentence. The other particle that only tells what part of the sentence a word is without giving it more meaning is ga. Ga is used for words that are not the main focus, but shows that it is the subject of the verb or the nouns plus des. That's a little bit confusing. Used for words that are not the main focus. I don't understand. Let's just ignore that, okay? Unless somebody can make sense of that to me. Words that replace X in sentences like I like X or X exists also use a ga. So, あなたが好きです。
あなたが好きです。
or 猫がいる。
猫がいる。
So, あなたが好きです。It is you that I like. So that places emphasis on you. I like you. And a cat is here, neko ga iru. It is the cat that exists here. Also, Tokyo Tower is, even an emoji, was built in response to the Eiffel Tower from Paris, France. However, unlike that, it does have usage that is implemented to this very day, Fuji TV and TV Tokyo. Okay. It definitely looks a lot like, the Eiffel Tower. Now, you normally don't use the wa particle with iru, as far as I'm aware. If you want to point something out that it exists or, is there, I think you would pretty much always use the ga particle. The particle wa is the topic marker, marks what the speaker is going to talk about, and it can take over the function of two other particles in a sentence. Those particles are the subject marker ga and the object marker o. The basic rules I just covered should work fine for now. Let me read this over again. It can take over the... I suppose it could, but when, I'm going to be referencing Jozu Jules for this. Ga is always there in a sentence. In any complete Japanese sentence, the ga particle is always used. It's just sometimes it's not visible, it's not spoken out loud, but it's hidden. That's what he says, pretty much. Now, the object marker O, I don't know, I guess we'll just continue. Now to cover some particles with real meaning to them. This allows for so much more that you can do with sentences. The first one I want to cover is to, as in go to the store. Wait. Oh, this is a typo. We're not talking about the particle to. We're talking about the particle ni, which translates to in some aspects. To as a particle is something different. Right, I forgot about this typo. That is a critical typo. Alright. Ni should be placed after the place that the topic of the sentence is going to. It is considered, I think, well, actually, they're like... It's a very versatile particle. It could be multiple things. But it, like, indicates a target of sorts. It could be a time, it could be a place you're going to. Next is to, as in I went to. This is the inclusive particle. To is mo, and it works just like wa, except it has the added meaning of to or also. It's also thanks to you, I now understand the meaning of Golgo 13. 13th hour. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. With how much you helped out in our streams, I do want to help. I think Golgo has something to do with guns. I'm pretty sure that's what Golgo is. There's also a Digimon called Golgomon, sometimes mistranslated as Gargomon. He's the rabbit with the guns for arms, and a sick pair of jeans being worn as well. Anyway, I went to Japan. I ate sushi too.
私は日本に行きました。私も寿司を食べた。
Seems like we went from formal to casual. So if we want to stick with formal, we would say 私は日本に行きました。私も寿司を食べました。Wait, no. Hang on. This wouldn't be in the same context because watashi mo would imply that there's somebody else. Like somebody else is coming in, and let's say we're assuming that I went to Japan and I ate sushi. Another person comes along and then he'll say, I ate sushi too. Whether they went to Japan or not is neither here nor there. So, yeah. If you actually want to say, I went to Japan and I ate sushi, you would actually use the particle to for that. So I would say, watashi wa nihon ni ikimashita to sushi o tabemata. I'm gonna have to think about that. Speaking of gun, when it fires, it makes the onomatopoeia gun. Pardon me for mistaking what I thought was 13th hour for a gun, unless it's a double entendre. Japan really loves double entendres. Right. I might as well take a look. Gorugo is Gorgon? Hmm. Okay, apparently it's not covered in Lorenzi's Jisho. Whatever. Here they are as a list of words. All words that are particles will be marked as particles by a P in parentheses. So, topic marker, wa, subject marker, ga, direct object marker, o, towards particle, ni, inclusive particle, to also, mo. The next particle is no. It's used to modify nouns. Remember how we used it for colors before? Right, we can use noun no noun to help describe the second noun. Nihon no ie means Japanese house. What kind of house is it? It's Japanese. It can also be used to show ownership. The first noun should be the owner and the second noun the thing that is owned. So, Haruka's cat,
はるかの猫、
Haruka no neko. My house,
私の家、
Watashi no uchi. Or if you want to shorten it, Watashi nchi. And, yes, as a matter of fact, Atashi nchi, which is the name of an anime, literally means my house, or like my family. Once again, I would recommend using that anime as a resource for learning about everyday Japanese. There's a YouTube channel that shows Atashinchi episodes, and they're all English subbed as well, so if you feel a little threatened, you can kind of ease in with putting on subtitles for a while, and after watching a couple of episodes numerous times, you can try to challenge yourself with turning subtitles off. Maybe don't start right now if you're just starting out in Japanese, but it's something to think about. Funny this is developed by Ubisoft. Michael Ansel, the creator of Rayman, did a 3D animation that warned of global warming with particles, and Rayman 1 has puns regarding protons and electrons. Right, the Great Protoon and the Electoons. Those uses of no are very similar. You'll just have to get used to telling the difference. Good luck. Our next particle, to, for real this time, pulls a double shift, since it can mean something different depending on how it's used. If between two nouns, it means and, so it is another inclusive particle of sorts. Watashi to Suzuki-san wa ikimashita. I and Suzuki went. Watashi to Suzuki-san wa ikimashita. Notice that both the nouns become the topic. Watashi to Suzuki-san wa ikimashita. If the to is placed after one noun but without a noun after it, the meaning becomes with. So, watashi wa Suzuki-san to ikimashita. I went with Suzuki. The last particle that I'm going to cover in this lesson is de. Like to, it has a double use. When put after a place name, it means at or in. This is saying that the verb happens in the place marked with de. The other main use is by means of. Kuruma de ikimashita. I went by means of a car. So, yeah, de can be for means or method. And what's the other one? At or in. The verb happens in the place marked with de. Take some time to review these. Sometimes I actually do forget the meaning of the de particle that is not the by means or method, so I'll have to review that myself. So we have to for and, to for with, de for at, de for by means of, and then the nominalizer slash possessive modifier, no. Check to see how well you remember them.
と
To. Okay,
お
some of these are going to be a cakewalk.
でのにもとはがで
Yeah, some of those are kind of a cakewalk. Knowing how to use particles in a sentence is vital. Without them, you'll just be speaking like Tarzan. Me Haruka, me Japanese teach. Let's get some more practice using these in sentences. Alright, so bridge builder. That's my car. Watashi no kuruma wa sore desu. No. それは私の車です。
それは私の車です。
I like summer. 私は夏が好きです。Natsu is summer in
夏
Japanese.
が好きです。
She went to America. 彼女はアメリカに行きました。
彼女はアメリカに行きました。
I studied Japanese. 私は日本語を勉強しました。
私は
勉
日本語を
強する。
勉強しました。
勉強する means to study. He also ate sushi. 彼も寿司を食べました。
彼も寿司を食べました。
I ate sushi in Japan. 私は日本で寿司を食べました。
私は日本で寿司を食べました。
She likes cats. 彼女は Oh, wait. Didn't we just do this one?
彼女は猫が好きです。
Alright. Haruka and I spoke in Japanese. Haruka to watashi wa nihongo de hanashita. We spoke by means of the Japanese
日本語で
language.
話した。
I'm speaking in Japanese. Oh, we're using boku this time. Boku wa nihongo de hanashite iru. Teiru indicates an ongoing state. That's something we haven't really learned yet, but that's what it is. I spoke with Haruka in Japanese. watashi wa haruka to nihongo de hanashita.
私ははるかと日本語で話した。
There we go. Next time I'm going to teach you words you can use to talk about your family. Then you can refer to them in a language they don't know. Alright, well, let's get to that. So, family is going to be a little bit tricky. When you want to introduce members of your family, you simply say, こちらは私の blank desu. This is my desu. Or, this is my blank. Kochira is basically a way of saying this way or in this direction. So, let's see. We have
私の
watashi no. This is I with possessive no. You don't really have to memorize this as a term, but, well, here it is. My mother,
母
haha. My father,
父
chichi. My siblings,
兄弟
kyodai. Friend,
友達
tomodachi. Which, by the way, you might have heard from a game called Tomodachi Life, which is getting a sequel! What's the appeal of it aside from memes? I don't know. Anyhow, in Japanese, it is important whether a brother or sister is older or younger than you are. So, my older brother,
兄
ani. My older sister,
姉
ane. My younger brother,
弟
ototo. My younger sister,
妹
imoto. Oh, also translating Japanese to English is what some would refer to as Ingrish. Right. The most infamous example would be practically all of the SNK Neo Geo library as a means of saving money. Yeah, there's plenty of English in some old games as well. Like, an infamous one is in Breath of Fire 2. Actually, yeah, I guess this counts. Breath of Fire 2, Laud and Bait. Like, my goodness. Breath of Fire 2 never got a good official translation. Fans had to do it. Like, goodness gracious. It got a GBA remake and the translation didn't even get fixed. I'm still kind of peeved about that. And I haven't even played Breath of Fire 2. The reason that most of these words have a my in front of them is because they should only be used when talking about your own family. Don't worry, we have words for when you want to talk about other people's families. The reason that we need different words is because you need to be more polite when talking about other people's families. Remember to use polite Japanese like mas and des when talking with people that you are not close to. Remember that pronouns about others, he, she, you, are impolite and should be avoided. Japanese speakers will know what you mean from the topic of the conversation, even if you drop all pronouns. Yeah. Yeah, mother and father is okasan and otosan. You won't believe where I learned that from. Child's Play 3? Interesting. But yeah, okasan and otosan, those would be when you refer to your own, when you talk to your own family members or talk about other people's family members. You would say words like that. We'll go into that more in the next lesson. But if you really need to say this, like pointing to a person in a picture or you should use konokata, or this person, or otaku for you. Otaku is more polite than anata. So yeah, kata can mean this person. So kono kata. And yeah, you've heard otaku before. Think of it, so yeah. Is this your blank becomes kono kata wa otaku no blank desu ka? Remember to be polite so that you don't offend people. Otaku might sound familiar since it has become an English word for anime nerd. Originally it meant your honorable home, but now it's mainly used for your. So here they are, the members of other people's families. Oh, I guess we're learning them now. Your,
お宅の
taku no, your mother,
お母さん、
ka-san, your father,
お父さん、
oto-san, your siblings,
ご兄弟、
go-kyodai. So, your siblings is basically just kyodai with go attached to it. A thing about the Japanese language is that o and go are called honorific prefixes. Sometimes they are just attached to basically any noun to make it more polite. Like, you could call water omizu if you wanted to. Go is basically the same way. You're just making kyodai more polite because you are referring to other people's siblings. Respect your families. That is ingrained in the culture of the Japanese, as revealed by this language. Remember to be more polite when talking about others' families. So for older brother,
お兄さん、
oni-san, older sister,
お姉さん、
one-san, your younger brother,
弟さん、
ototo-san, and your younger sister,
妹さん、
imoto-san. That's a lot of words. You'd better get that mastery going. Ganbatte.
兄、
Ani. Oh, my older brother.
Oka-san.
Right. Ka-san, your mother.
姉、
Ane. My older sister.
お父さん、
To-san, your father.
お兄さん、
Ni-san, your older brother.
妹、
Imoto, your, my
弟、
younger sister. Ototo, my younger brother.
兄弟、
I tend to have trouble with the family members sometimes because
お姉さん、
a bunch of them just sound the same. Ne-san. I remember this was like the lesson that took me a while to master when I was, playing this for the first time. You know what time it is? It's time for a new game! Spelltastic. This minigame does not need to exist. So, what Spelltastic is, it's basically a spelling bee. However, you are typing these Japanese words in Romaji. You don't use kana. Granted, people wouldn't be familiar with a kana keyboard, so I get that. But the thing is, why do you want to, spell Japanese words? Like, in Romaji. I don't get it. Well, I'll show you anyhow.
お兄さん、
Oni-san. I guess it helps some. Space is already added.
弟さん、
Ototo-san.
お姉さん、
姉さん。
母、
母。
友達、
友達。
ご兄弟、
ご兄弟。
妹さん、
妹さん。
父、
父。
お宅の、
お宅の。Fireworks! Good job. You can spell Japanese, even though it is very easy to spell. Now you can talk about immediate family. Next time we'll cover more members of our family and other families. Let's go ahead and do that. Last time we covered the immediate family and how to talk about other people's families. This time I want to teach you words for some extended family, both your family and others. Some of these words might be most useful if you're married. Oh, also let's not forget the 4chan word weeaboo. Better to be an otaku and not a weeaboo. And according to Super Allison 20, she had to educate me about how weeaboo is essentially considered disrespect. Disrespectful in Japan, you mean? The strange thing is, though, the origin of weeaboo didn't even have anything to do with Japan at all. I don't know how it was adopted to mean, like, somebody who unabashedly loves Japan and anime and stuff. Anyway, first we have my wife,
家内、
Kanai. Now, I'm not sure how often kanai is used in Japan. There's another word for wife. I'll have to look this up. I think it's like, I don't think it's oku. Oh, it's oh, well, oku-san. That's honorific. But if you want to refer to my wife, you could use tsuma. But anyway, as a little bit of trivia, kanai, when you use the kanji for my wife, kanai, it actually means, like, ka refers to house, and nai means inside. So basically it describes a person who is in the house. So considering how modern times are, how even in Japan, women are like going out to work and not staying in the house all the time, it could be considered a tiny bit disrespectful in hindsight. So nowadays, people would say like tsuma or suna, suma, or okusan. Although that would be your wife, but anyhow, husband,
夫、
otto, my son,
息子、
musuko, and my daughter,
娘、
musume. And these will be more useful if you know people who are married. Your wife,
奥さん、
okusan, your husband,
ご主人、
goshujin, your son,
息子さん、
musuko-san, your daughter,
娘さん、
musume-san. The same word for boyfriend can be used whether it's yours or someone else's. So, yeah, boyfriend, it's
ボーイフレンド、
boyfriend. My grandmother,
祖母
sobo. My grandfather,
祖父
sofu, sofu. My aunt,
おば
oba. My uncle,
おじ
oji. And the same applies for girlfriend. Girlfriend is
彼女
kanojo, which is the same as, what is it? It's the same as she. I think I've also heard some Japanese say it as girlfriendo. I mean, when I was watching a Final Fantasy VIII Japanese stream at one point, just like a lot of other people might at first, people mistook GF to mean girlfriend when it actually means guardian force in the world of Final Fantasy VIII. So, yeah, that's kind of funny. Anyway, your grandmother,
おばあさん
Oba-san. A disrespectful term to describe someone who is an old man is osan. That's the equivalent of calling someone an old fart, from what I understand. Oh, is that right? Yeah, I guess it would be a little crude. When I was playing Pokemon Gen 1, your rival, Blue, describes the security guard of the Pokemon League. He described him as Osan because, you know, he's kind of the self-important swine kind of guy. He's an overly confident, yeah. Anyway, your grandmother, Oba-san. Your grandfather,
おじいさん
Oji-san. Your
お
aunt,
ばさん
Oba-san. Your uncle,
おじさん
Oji-san. So yeah, don't confuse these too much. Oba-san versus Oba-san. Oji-san versus Oji-san. Oh, by the way, this is something of a culture shock that I'm sure some of you have, like, experienced. Have you ever noticed that in some, like, anime or video games, people might call old men, like, old man? Like, that is something you wouldn't say in, English, but it's actually kind of an honorary, more of an honorary thing, a more polite thing to call an older person Oji-san or Ji-san or whatever. Luffy from One Piece even calls people like his mentor, Dark King Silver's Rayleigh, as Osan. He even calls God Osan as well. He's got a plethora of balls. Wow. He definitely sounds like a pirate. Alright, let's drill these into your brain. Flashcards.
ボーイフレンドおじいさん娘
My daughter.
彼女
Girlfriend.
息子さん
Your son.
娘さん
Your daughter.
おばさん
Your aunt.
息子
My son.
おばあさん
Your grandmother.
おじさん
Your uncle. There we go. Alright. Practice these words on your family and other people's families, but make sure you use the right word. If you don't use new vocabulary words, then you'll lose them. I won't do spelltastic. Next time I'm going to go over how to use titles in Japanese. Do you remember the title son? I've used that before. Alright. So, yeah, now we go on to the next thing. Ah, looks like we're now in the Hokkaido region. Even though Hokkaido is not south of Tokyo, it is the northernmost part of Japan. Anyhow, titles and stations. This will be our last lesson of the night. In Japanese, titles are used all the time. They should only be used for other people, not yourself. Common titles in English are Mr., Mrs., Miss, and Sir. Of course, Luffy is going to be king of the pirates, Kaizoku Oni Nawaru. Sorry, I'm still trying to learn how to spell. Here's a list of the most commonly used titles. I'll explain them in a bit.
Son,
Son is the more general title to make things like more polite. For a boy, we use kun. For a girl, we use chan. Although I have heard things like oni-chan when you're referring to a really close ni, that's brother. So really close older brother, oni-chan. Titles for superiors,
sama,
sama, and title for teachers, sensei. Certainly you've heard the word sensei before. The title son is a kind of catch-all title. It's a formal title used whether the person is male, female, married, or single. So that's one less thing to worry about. In Japanese, the title goes after the name instead of before the name. For example, you can call me Haruka-san. Chan and kun are titles that are used with someone that you are familiar with or are younger than you, or even lower in station. We're friends, so you can call me Haruka-chan if you like. Sama is used for people that are really important, people that you look up to. If you really look up to me, you could call me Haruka-sama, but it loses the friendly feel. Sensei is used for teachers, doctors, and other intellectuals. Since I'm a teacher, you can also call me Haruka-sensei. I'm so versatile. Let's go over these again now that I've covered the details. So, Mr., Mrs., Miss, san, title boy, kun, girl, chan, superiors, sama, teachers, sensei. Think of people you know. What titles would you use for them? Now for a little twist. Remember how this lesson is titles and stations? The stations part is actually train stations. This is to help you get your bearings if you take the train in Tokyo. So, why are you telling us about this just after talking about the suffixes? Most people in Japan take the train to get around, so it's good to know popular stops. So for Tokyo Station, we have
東京駅、
Tokyo Eki, Shinjuku Station,
新宿駅、
Shinjuku Eki, Ueno Station,
上野駅、
Ueno Eki, Ikebukuro Station,
池袋駅、
Ginza Station.
銀座駅、
As you can tell, Eki means station. Oh, Chris Chan was his own self-fulfilling prophecy. He mistakenly used female pronouns like Chan and not Kun. Oh, man. Yeah, considering they became a girl. Anyhow. You know what time it is? It's game time! Multiple choice. Yeah,
東京駅、
this should be easy.
さん、
At least for the stations.
さま、くん、ちゃん、 上野駅先生新宿駅池袋駅銀座駅
Alright, are you getting used to the titles? How about hiragana and katakana? Oh yeah, that's right. This is when they're gonna start switching a little more into the kana. So, be mindful of that. Get that mastery going. Memory. Tokyo Eki.
東京駅
Sama. Disappear. Umenoe.
3新宿駅
Here we go.
様くん上野駅
Ah, dagnabbit.
銀座駅池袋駅先生ちゃん
Oh, just in time. In case you've forgotten, the Romaji has been toned down and you'll be seeing more and more kana in the lessons. If you're not ready, go back and practice your hiragana and katakana. If you're still totally lost, you can go to the difficulty options menu and switch the kana back to Romaji in the mini-games. So yeah, there's a little bit of a grace there if you want. Oh, yeah, pretty much. Alright, so that will do with this set of lessons. So next time we're going to be learning about places, e-adjectives and not adjectives, emotions, commands, directions, nations, some more particles, and yeah, we'll be doing an introduction to food as well. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I might as well show this. Ew. This looks terrible. Right, I forgot it saves it like this. Oh, I can just clear it like that. Anyhow, yeah, you have this sketch pad so you can, like, practice doing kana or something. Let's see, Nihongo. Alright, so with that, thank you for watching my stream. So, this is what would be said if I want to say goodbye. I'll see you again. Mata ne! And the next stream will be I want it to be tomorrow in the, let's see, afternoon or evening. I'll think about the time for a little bit, but I'm going to be playing some Monster Sanctuary because I've been kind of itching to play that game again, and also Creature Collector Fest is going to be next week on Steam, so I would love it if people would try out more monster taming games. Because, let's face it, who wants to pay $80 for a Pokemon game now? Thanks, Nintendo. I just had to get that complaint in. So, anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. This is Stylus signing off. See you next time.